Here we go. Through my eyes with one eye. Welcome back. Pengame Classic. What's been going on with you?
Not much, bro. Just working the new album, Nostalgia of a Fall Classic, out now. So y'all need to go listen to that. And just doing what I do, man. You already know, doing what I do, working on music, being a dad, surviving like everybody else. Yeah, for real.
Talk. Yeah, definitely. Real talk. Survival of the fittest. Definitely trying to, you know what I'm saying, make sure everybody get out here, get to it. Hey, you know, times is different right now. But like you said, we all out here, we all trying to survive. But let's get right into the show. Pengame Classic, you are from Michigan and you're a big Michigan fan. Talk about being from Michigan, what part of Michigan you from, and how you became such a big Michigan fan.
Well, I'm from Muskegon, Michigan. It's on the west side, pretty much right there on Lake Michigan. My mom, my dad were born there, and when I was probably like around 5 or 6, we were in Germany, and I would be up late watching the games, man, like on TV, just in there, by myself watching the TV. And over there, like a regular game that would come on around this time frame, or over here on this side, on the States, over there it's like 2 or 3 in the morning. So I'm on there watching, and it's just like, boom, I think it was Desmond Howard back then, Ty Wheatley. And I'm watching all these schools. Notre Dame was real heavy back then. Miami, all these teams. And man, when I just saw those wing helmets, man, and just seen, Michigan, man, that was, knowing I was from there too. I was like, because I kind of watched state too. I kind of watched Michigan State, and I was like, I like the other team better. So I got a chance to really pick. But I was born a Lions fan for sure, but I kind of got to pick which Michigan team I was going to ride with, and I just rolled with Michigan, man. I went with the colors, and I just loved the Michigan Stadium. Just seemed, like it was a fun place to, to be, and watching them play there. So I just went with Michigan, since 5 on up.
Nah, real talk. I can definitely see you being a Michigan fan, being there, being around the culture, tapping into it, your parents being from there too. So let me ask you this. How did you feel when you had the situation with with the Chris Webber and the crew? And the whole,
Yeah, man, because my opinion on that has changed the older I've gotten, and the more I understand like the business, and you see with the current state of the game of where it is today. And that's when we were growing up, shout out to some of my college teammates, my boy Volsky out in LA. We would be the biggest advocates. We even called our little teammates of our little crew of teammates the Fab Five. Because off of those, it was 5 of us out there, so we called ourselves the Fab Five. But when I first, was young and the Fab Five was coming out, I mean, you only get the public opinion, and I was thinking, oh man, they really did something wrong. Being a little kid, I'm like, they did something wrong, and I would hear some of the old heads like, man, they deserve that money, and like that. And then when I dove into the story, the older I got, and of course we all saw that documentary, I'm like, man, this should be deserving to get paid, man. It should be deserving to get paid. Like me and my crew, we were, ramen noodles in the microwave, man. Just living hard, man, in college. Just coming up doing the best that we could because we really couldn't work. Some of us still worked, some of us hustled, some of us did whatever needed to be done. Right. But coaches, they weren't really fond of you working unless it was a work study. They weren't fond of that at all. They were like, well, good luck, competing for your spot, if you're trying to work. They kind of looked at it like that. A lot of them won't admit that, but that's what they were saying. If students were like, hey, coach, I need to work and, try to balance some of this out. Nah, you're not going to work. You're going to be practicing. That is your job. That's what you're here to do, and that's what they expect you to do. So I give it up to how it changed, throughout the years of me watching it. But I thought that, what if that NIL situation was in place for the Fab Five? Man, I don't think those dudes' NBA careers would have mattered. Man, they showed how much money that they made for the University of Michigan. And you talk about hip hop and the culture. luckily I was already a Michigan fan, but when they started taking the world by storm, it made me really like, oh yeah, this is it right here. They were global icons, not just, Michigan.
Yeah, definitely. Now, you talked about yourself playing basketball. Where did you go to school and play basketball at, and what position did you play? And how was you and your Fab Five crew?
Yeah, well, I played. I was what the terminology for it would be combo guard. A little bit of point guard, a little bit of shooting guard. But now today, that's pretty much every guard out there. You know what I'm saying? Everyone has to have those shooting skills and those dribbling skills. So back then, that wasn't really something that these coaches really knew what to do with. Some of the coaches in the late 90s and early, some of these guys were old, on their way out the game. They weren't really like, revolutionary. They were, you do what I do. These coaches now, they revolutionized their whole game plan around their talent. They're very good coaches today. Back then it was set in stone. You do what I do. I've been doing this for 10, 15 years. This is what you're going to do. So I went to a high school in Kansas, Manhattan, Kansas. And I played there, played a little bit, and pretty much, I think, my senior year in high school, my grades were not good for the first part of the semester. So I didn't get to play that year. So what I did, though, it was really better for me. I felt like I expanded my game tremendously because that summer coming into that, I was at OU basketball camp with what's the coach that was there, Ralph Sampson of Oklahoma Sooners. He was coaching them back then, and I was out there, developing my game in the summer. And when I went to had that situation in Manhattan when my grades weren't that good in the first semester or whatnot, it was a blessing in disguise for me because we had a guy from California that was out there, due to Kansas State University being there. You had a lot of people that were coming from other states and, being with the track team or with the football team or whatever was going on in K-State, you had people coming through there for college purposes and scholarships. And we met a guy named Austin McKellar who was I think he went to Montana State. So he was coming to the local teen center, which is where we always hung out, and he was training us. I would go over to the stairs over there. Y'all out there in Manhattan, Kansas, know Ahern, the football stadium. That's the soccer stadium that's out there. We would go run those stairs. We'd go inside Ahern. He was running us. Like we were doing the, shoot 10 feet beyond the three-point line drill, when Steph, and this is people, Steph Curry and them do this now. But he knew, he was like, look, you're short. You guys are going to have to do whatever you need to do for your advantage against these taller guards. So you need to come out, you need to expand your range. So we would shoot those and work on that every day. We start from the top of the key. We move over to the baseline, and we would shoot way far out. And he just had me working on college stuff that I knew I wasn't going to get at that high school, other than just playing with the competition and all that. But when I first went to Pratt Community College, and shout out to my man Stan, who I met out there from New York. We, like a big brother to me, we all played out there. There was a couple other guys, not worth mentioning, but, we played out there, grew a brotherhood. But when I ended up going to Kansas Wesleyan University after that, that's when I met my Fab Five crew, my boy Volsky, Brian, and y'all always hear me shout out Benefit. So BFit was there, my man Ken Gay. Man, we were, myself, we were out there, man, having a ball, man. We were having a ball, man. There's so much I can tell y'all from that. But I need to let Will slide in with another question. Because that's a whole different thing right there, man. I got stories for days on that.
Man, trust me, man. When I just going to my little college that I went to right out here, we got stories for days.
I
too.
know.
I mean, I've seen the players come in 2 weeks later, man. They got the newest J, they got the latest, all types of stuff. So I kind of seen that. I kind of felt like that NIL stuff was probably, me under the table, as we know, things like that was going on because I went to college at Western Kentucky University where Courtney Lee.
Shout out Hilltoppers.
Yeah, shout out to the Toppers for sure. But my boy Courtney Lee, he came up out of there and he went to
the Knicks.
He drafted to the Orlando Magic. He was with
the Knicks.
I
know. I remember him with the Knicks. He was really getting playing time.
And all that too. Yeah, he was not. He definitely got ticked. Yeah, he had ball. He had ball out of this world. You know what I'm saying? So definitely did his thing. So seeing him and just seeing how he was like being that superstar on campus in that Bowling Green community when he popped out, man, it was different. We did a documentary over him, and that was cool. That was cool too. So yeah, shout out Courtney Lee, man. I think I think he's into the golf thing or something like that.
So went to J.R. Smith route.
I think he probably got in that route before J.R. too.
Oh, okay.
Real talk. Now, while you're in college and you're doing your thing, playing basketball, you've always had this talent when it came to spitting these bars.
Always.
Talk about your music career, some of your projects that you have released, and how people and what you're currently working on now.
Got you. Well, yeah, I think my love for sports and music went parallel at the same time.
Yeah, they go
hand in hand, So it was all I can remember telling y'all is from the time I was organized with sports, and I was up there at Kansas State University at the same time. I remember there were times where, shout out my boy Greg Watts, he'll remember this clearly, and DJ Sunrise was it was a few of them. It was DJ Sunrise, it was DJ K Sly, and K Sly went on to do big things out in Atlanta. She's an Asian female who was up there DJing. You can still Google her name, it'll pop right up. Like, she's still active. I don't know about Sunrise, but we were going up in there in Studio B. They were doing it was DB92 back then, FM, and we would go in there. I would be fresh out of practice, going in DB92, and my boy ended up be playing with the records and stuff, scratching the records. And I know one day Sunrise was like, man, y'all back here, let me hear what y'all got. And he just put us on live, man, and we were on around the town, and we just were freestyling, man, just off the top of the head. And my boy was trying to get me to go up there all the time, and I remember I'm like, man, I got practice. I'm like, I got practice. So that just goes to show with the music and me, it was just like, whatever. I really think if basketball wasn't there, I probably would have really took off early, because I had clubs and stuff wanting me to book back then, and I'm focusing on training and getting ready to go to, to college and stuff. So I just looked at the music stuff like, man, we were born with that gift. Like, I can always do that, but I'm going to go ahead and do this basketball thing because it's just not promised. And I saw the longevity in music due to the fact that you need to be alive, but you don't got to be worried about your body, your body working out to the point where you can easily verbally spit and stay in good health, but you can't always stay in that basketball top shape when it comes to competing at that high level. So when I first really starting to get serious in the music is when I stopped really doing the college thing, man. And that was around 04. I was done. I was really done with playing, the little politics and stuff that they do out there. And plus, it was to the point now where being broke was not cool, so I needed to go into other avenues of getting money. Like, it wasn't like it was now for maybe a star player or something, but for other players, you were broke. You know what I'm saying? So being broke, you starting to get out and about, young women around, and it was not cool to be broke. Definitely. So it was time to go. So I remember my mom was out on the East Coast, and I went up to Virginia and left school then, and I didn't go back. After that, that's when the journey began, man. That's when I just started really getting involved in the music and really just crafting, taking bits and pieces here and there. And then when I really started to evolve and really take it seriously is when I went out to Arizona. I went out to Arizona like 06. Started putting out projects like in 07, 08. Those were those Phoenix New Sun mixtapes out there. At the time, you had Willie North Pole, who was signed to Disturbing the Peace. The Game was heavily out there. He had Black Wall Street. He had a few artists out there.
Was that after the whole G Unit?
Yeah, that was right after that.
The whole G Unit. Yep,
because
that Black Wall.
If you remember the Black Wall Street Cause I remember my boy. Shout out to my boy, Boy Dirt. What up, Boy Dirt out of New Mexico? Cause he's the one who slid me that mixtape, and it was the one mixtape where Game is I guess he's getting a CD from. It's a skit. It's a skit for those of y'all out there. It's a skit on that Black Wall Street Journal. I don't remember which one it was because they come out with 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s. But it's that Black Wall Street Journal, and he's in Phoenix with Swiss Beats in the car, and they're acting out this skit, and he's like, man, what's this guy? What's the CD this guy giving me? And he's like, man, what's this guy's name? And he's like playing, he's like, Juice. He just keeps saying Juice over and over again. I ended up running into that artist out there, and we, at the time, developed a relationship, and we were, I'm pretty much learning the city through his eyes off of the stuff that I was doing, and he took a liking to the work, and he's like, yo, you got skill, man. And I have to thank that cat, because that's when I really started to, he was with Sotomayor and with Sotomayor had a Apocalypto Records, and he was with T.I. He had a Grand Hustle consultant deal with T.I. after him and Game parted ways or whatever. I think Game started going through his issues, and that Black Wall Street thing kind of fell apart. So that guy out in Arizona had to get his own situations. That's when he came up with Amari Stoudemire, because there's an episode of Jim Rome is Burning on ESPN. It's probably a YouTube archive, and Jim Rome was with Amari Stoudemire doing his whole day out there in Phoenix, and he ended up stopping by Salt Mine Studio. Sam Salter family owns that, and he was with that artist, Juice, in the Salt Mine Studio, and he's like, this is my artist, I got Apocalypto Record. So that's all documented. All that is factual, documented. They did a real big NBA All-Star situation out there. Game was coming through for Celebrity Theater. So I started seeing this. I was from the start. I was already at the top, at the highest level that you could be at the start. So that's why I'm looking at it like he's inviting me to go to kick it with Game at Celebrity Theater. And the business side of me was like, nah, I'm at Salt Mines getting my feature. So I'm like, yo, I'm going to go to Salt Mines, and I'm going to take care of my business tonight with this track that's going on my project. So I'm out there in Salt Mines and stuff. Anybody else would have probably been like, man, I'm going to go up there with Game in them tonight.
Kicking,
yeah, I was like, I need my track. I need my track. So that goes to show that sports mind. I'm glad I had that, because it always made me think about the work. Like, yeah, that person's good, but what about me? Like, I need to put in the work. I need to do what I need to do so I can propel myself to another level. So, yeah, that's good that cat's selling out Celebrity Theater. I purchased his work. I've showed him support by my money. So now that this is about my money, I need to be taking care of my business up in here in Salt Mines and dropping down my verse so I can catapult what I got going on. So, that's when it came to, an understanding that this is a business, and, just the lifestyle out there, man, just like it was all like a blur, just a blur coming into that music world, and having people in a town, city, nothing about, coming out there from the Midwest. And now in a span, I was out there from 06 to 09 in a span of a year, the whole city knowing your name, people stopping me in public like, man, most of them just wanted to get up with that other artist.
Right.
Trying to use me as a bridge.
Using you to get through it.
Yeah, and I'm just like, man, I'm not messing with it. And, the girls out there, just, it was wild, man. It was good times. Good times. Vo would come out there with me, my teammate from Kansas. He lived in L.A., so he would slide out there, and we would just tear that city apart, man. It was good times. Everybody know.
Good time right there.
Oh, yeah.
Sound a good time.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of basketball, you've been talking about you playing basketball a lot. Let me ask you about how you feel about Bronny James. He was, he's with the Lakers, but just recently been bumped down to the G League. Is that a bump down to the G League? Do you call that, or how would you even consider that? I guess it would be considered bumped down to the G League, but he's still playing. He's only playing at the home games, not the home games.
Yeah.
Just talk about, I guess, how do you feel about Bronny James and his whole situation and what they got going on at the Lakers?
Well, I think by following his father's narrative and my perspective, this is my perspective. I barely even watch the media. I just look at what if people stand on something, they usually want to follow that narrative. Otherwise, it's going to look disingenuous. LeBron's always been the type of guy who's, what about me? What about us? So when he's laid the foundation down, what does he do? Bring his boys along. What does he do? Make sure that his peoples are good. I don't think LeBron cares about anybody saying this nepotism thing. I think he's thinking like, hell yeah.
Yeah, right.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, my son's finna get. He's gonna get an opportunity. Like you guys get your opportunities at whatever your business, whatever it is. So yeah, it comes off being a former player. I heard somebody mentioning it. I think it was Ryan Clark was mentioning it, saying that he needs to be begging them to be like, no, I need to be out there playing. I need to develop. I'm a firm believer in that. And his father is a firm believer in that. I don't know what the objective by the Lakers management with him. But as a player and as a competitor, you should be wanting to play in those games because you're trying to get better. But for all we know, they already believe, or hey, we're gonna have him up on the upper league, which is the NBA compared to the G League. We're gonna have him there. We just need him to get a couple runs in, and we're already gonna put him on the bench. We don't know. None of us know that. But just looking at it from a straight player's perspective, it looks funny when you got other guys out there that have played the game and that are playing the game, that are in that situation. They don't have a choice, and they'll get looked at as if they're being not serious or they're being prima donna-ish if they're not out there trying to play on the road or not out there trying to compete or whatever. So that's why it comes off. But it's whatever the Lakers organize. They're the ones that got to live with it, because at the end of the day, when it comes to the Lakers, that fan base is no joke. Yeah, so LeBron won't be playing forever. So at some point, it's going to have to come together, because, like I said, my boy Vo is a huge Lakers fan, and I know that his family out there, and I got some family out in L.A. too. LeBron can't hold back that fan base. So at some point, this is going to have to pay off, or it's going to be no more. And the other teams, I really do think that these general managers, these owners, quietly have a resentment towards LeBron James by the way he's done business. So they can probably use, once he's out of there, if he's not at a particular level where, say, the Lakers, not that we're wishing this on him, but say it just doesn't work out with the Lakers. He's a free agent. His dad's gone. Now he's out on the open market. Will some of these guys use that against him? Because of how his father is, and he's probably not that type of talent where you can't be denied, we got to pick him. Or is it just like, he's average, but there's plenty of other players, so, we're not really going to mess with him. That's what I worry about for Bronny James. And this type of stuff definitely. Right here, not playing on the road, these guys remember that.
Those guys are definitely going to remember that, because, some of these guys are like, they feel in their mind as if they're better.
Yep.
Their stats may look better. They may put up more points, whatever the case may be. But because Pops was able to get you on, hey, now we're gonna hand this back. And sometimes those players on those teams also have a decision on how that vibe is gonna be, when you come in there into that and be a part of that organization, so.
Competitive situation. These guys are, I don't know if a lot of people listening, you played in this type of competitive situations, but people, when they watch this, like these, summer leagues and these, man, those are the worst things to play. Like AAU, ain't nobody trying to pass the ball. No. Ain't nobody trying to do nothing. They just like, they got to do this and do that.
Get mine.
They don't be, man, nobody's trying to do nothing in a team environment. Everybody's trying to get off and show their skills so they can get elevated to the next level of what they're doing.
Nah, real talk. I believe that 100%. A couple of weeks ago, we had the presidential election, and the people spoke. Donald Trump was reelected for president. How do you feel? First of all, do you get into politics? Because if you don't talk politics, then that's cool. But how do you feel about Donald Trump winning the presidential nomination again?
I really don't really get into politics. I have not been active into politics ever since Gore lost to Bush with the recount. and I vowed never to really get into it again. And that was when I was 18. So me and Benefit, I remember we went up to vote, and just seeing how that happened at 18, I already knew what was up. And I've been you and I have had conversations before. I'm just very conscious about everything. I've studied a lot of stuff since then. And I just believe in let's take the theme of the Wizard of Oz. You got the guy behind the curtain. You got the puppet with the strings. It's all the same. At the end of the day, it's all the same. And it's like when you're on the street and they're moving the cars and they've got you looking at this, and then behind your back taking your wallet. You're paying attention, trying to figure out where the ball is, and your wallet's gone. Like these guys, I think the American people, the experiments that they use, that they do psychologically or whatever during these particular times where you have a 4-year, I call it a 4-year experiment, when they just recently had Biden. I think we were not being ran by so-called traditional president and government situation. I think we're being ran by an overseer, and just Biden really, ever since 2020, I call it the curtain had been open. We got a chance to see how a lot of businesses were being ran. We got a chance to see how, that's my version of the presidency. Everyone always says, oh, the president don't really run things. He's just a CEO. Well, this Biden thing was an example of that. We got to see that, an incompetent president, like, matter of fact, as we stand here doing this interview right now, where's Joe Biden? You see, like, where's Joe Biden at? Yeah, she took over, but there was still a point in time where Joe was still the president of the United States. And this guy is nowhere to be found. How is things being ran? So when I looked at the Trump situation, people have to look at the media. If you already do not trust the media is already putting out blind stories to the fact where you go back and you find out, okay, he didn't really say that, or there was a longer part of an interview. I'm looking at all that stuff because I'm coming there with not an objective mind or no dog in the fight. So I'm paying attention to both sides, like, okay, she's saying something over here, but not right. He's lying over here, but over here, they're saying they're manipulating stuff that he's saying. So everybody's lying, but one side is working really hard at trying to make the other person look like they're the biggest liar. Right. And that's the issue. It's like, okay, they're all lying, but this side is really like, he's the biggest liar when they're lying too. So I try to pay attention to those things, and that lets me know, like they say, the lesser of the evils. Well, that lets me know that this organization over here is probably not going to win due to the last 4 years of what went on and watching the American people and how they've reacted in shopping malls and grocery stores and just the groceries alone and the inflation. Anybody talking to anybody on the streets with a right mind is not going to really go for that for another 4 years. So I kind of felt like justice was done in that regard, and the American people did it for me because, like I said, I don't have a dog in the fight. So the American people spoke, and they delivered their vote, and they wanted Donald Trump in, and that's what we got. So it's all off of the perception or the illusion that the Democratic Party was tanking this country for, in these wars and stuff like that. But that's bigger than the party. That's a collective. So we're just going to leave it at the fact that the Democratic Party will be the scapegoat or the bad, painted the bad picture of a octopus establishment that cut off one arm. What's it in Marvel with the enemy in there? You got Hydra. You cut off one and it grows back. Like they're throwing all these subliminals in these TV shows and these movies, y'all, to let you know what's really happening. And that's what it is. It's like they're gonna take the fall for this, chop them off. Another organization is going to grow right back in this place. So they're a failure, but another Democratic Party will come together and do a better job at lying and manipulating and doing things and get the people's trust. And there you go, another 4 of that.
Yeah, I always say, for me, I'm on the side of I can't pick a wing a left wing or a right wing, they both are part of the same
Yes.
bird. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in my opinion, I feel as if I try to stay out of the whole political stuff as well, because I don't have a dog in a fight either, because I'm objective. I want to hear what each person has to say. I want to
know what everybody got to say.
And then it seems like, okay, both of y'all are trying to sell me something.
That's it.
Which one sounds the best for me? You know, but my biggest thing that I think that people need to realize is we always talk about the presidential election, but we also have to be mindful of your local elections.
Yes, those are the biggest ones. Those are the biggest ones.
Voting on local elections, making sure that you get those people right here in your community into the office and into those seats that you need to have, then that's how things will be able to change for you. But being here in Kentucky, Kentucky's always been a red state. I think it's going to, I don't think you'll never be able to flip Kentucky. You know what I'm saying?
Michigan just flipped to red, after being blue. So Kentucky is a stronghold red.
Definitely is a stronghold. Now, Trump has been picking his team together. A lot of people are upset about those individuals who he has been adding to his team.
Yeah.
In particular, let's talk about your boy, man, Elon Musk.
Oh, Elon.
Man. It seems like Elon wiggled his way into American politics.
Dude's a genius, man. He's a genius.
Listen, I was on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, right? And I'm talking about months before the election. All you seen was all of these different accounts. Every other post, every other scroll.
Yeah.
Here goes, man, the day after the election, all of it was gone.
See, this the part that I feel about that whole thing, and that's why I say genius. But before that, who was the biggest name that we heard as far as tech savvy and money? Bill Gates. That's all we were hearing about. And I think of that same ladder as far as it being all one head. I'm looking at this situation that we're looking at right now, and I'm looking at Revenge of the Nerds. And it's like, we are living in the Revenge of the Nerds right now. And, the guy that couldn't get the date, has the company and now has a leg at the table in politics, man. That's major. And I look at that as very scary at the same time.
Right.
Because a lot of the stuff that those guys are trying to do are against universal code as far as how I am balanced and believing in one being a god or whatever one people want to define in those different terminologies or whatever. But let's just say the source of all creation, knowing that is one. These guys tiptoe the line with some of the things that they want to initiate in their active or in what they're doing. So I look at a person's, I'm not judging Elon or whatever. I think the guy is brilliant, but when it comes to that fine line, I'm out. I'm out. But it doesn't mean I discredit anything that he puts together that's useful. But it lets me know if someone's a villain, they're a villain. Rather they got a suit on or rather they, homeless on the street, a villain's a villain. So, and not saying Elon is a villain, but that's how it comes off to certain people when they're so invested in what they believe in. This guy's going to appear to be a villain to them, and that's what you see on these social media outlets. It's just people hate this guy, man, because he's doing what? He's utilizing the situation where someone that's running sees an opportunity to use him to help himself out. This isn't no friendship. These guys don't believe in friends. They don't believe in friends, man. Yeah. Yep. So, black folks, I challenge y'all to look at some of these master teachers. You got Bobby Hemmett was a good one. Delbert Blair, C. Freeman Nail, all these other guys. And I think Bobby was one. Phil Valentine, and I know Bobby always said one thing about black folks that we do not really understand is when we view things, rather it's different cultures or rather it's different people, we automatically assume that everyone is thinking like how we're thinking. That's not the case. So when I just said that point right there, these guys are not friends. We kind of like to be having a relationship with each other where it is not, I guess you could say, it is very culturally African for us to be like, we want to have a friendship along with what we engage into as far as business or whatever. We want to have some type of relationship. We got to see each other every day. Why the hell do we want to be, whatever? They're not like that. They can do business, shake hands, fly on jets with each other, and that's all it is. A year from now, you saw these people running with Trump. What did they do the next after the lights when it got a little dark and things got tight? Oh man, he's this and that. That's why this man why is he not assembling some of these same people that was running with him before?
Right.
He's up here getting a whole new team. That's proven right there. Like they don't think like how we think. And not saying that all blacks are going to have the same squad. There's going to be a few brothers that, I ain't messing with that brother no more. But there got to be at least 2 or 3 or 4 that say, that's my man. I'm rolling with him. He's coming on here representing with me. You just don't see that with the visual perception that we're getting from these guys. They do not think like how we think. And we got to understand that when we go to vote. That's why they get us with the emotional triggering. Through the social media, they do a lot of emotional triggering. Stop falling for the damn race bait, y'all. That stuff, didn't you guys see what they did in 2020? Russia tapped into Facebook and was automatically spreading racial propaganda. Sure. Propaganda goes back to the Nazis. I learned that firsthand and personal when I lived in Germany. I studied the Nazis inside and out. That culture came over to America. So when we see a bunch of stuff getting thrown in our face, you have to question it, and you got to kind of go the other way with it and just judge your personal experience and what you see on the streets and what you interact with, and you got to go with that. You can't have someone else tell you this is what it is. This is what it is, because then it starts to be fed into your subconscious, and you start to believe it, whether you like it or not. So, we have to really be observant and filter stuff out, and it's a shame that we gotta do that as being black or being multicultural people anyway, because a lot of things don't stack up to the way we think or feel or live our lives. So we just need to keep being like that.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, we'll see what this next 4 year.
It's gonna be a roller coaster, man.
Hey, strap up your boots. Put your seatbelts in.
It's gonna be a roller coaster.
It's just for the get crazy.
Oh man.
Now, speaking of crazy, Lil Wayne, Louisiana Festival, Hot Boys reunion.
Yeah,
crazy.
I've been seeing that.
Went crazy. Did you see the performance?
Yeah.
What is your thoughts on Lil Wayne, and how did you feel about the Hot Boys?
I loved it.
Everybody was able to get back together.
Was just Will before we started, y'all. Will and I, we were getting set up, right? And it's funny he mentions that because exactly what I was looking at in this magazine, which I'm gonna show y'all, is indeed the Hot Boys, if I could find it. But the Hot Boys, I was proud to see that because of this magazine. Like, I remember when this magazine came out and I was looking at it, and I'm looking at, young black males coming together, young in poverty situations, rising to the top. Like, that was the narrative. That's the stories that they had us on. And I loved it. Like, I wanted to see them succeed. And I was disappointed when those brothers didn't, when they didn't come back together and do something like this. So this has been a long time waiting. I can't remember if it was like 2008 or 9. They was supposed to do something, but it never failed. It didn't fall through because of the simple fact that, cats just didn't get along. Wayne was Wayne was all world then.
I think they just recently did something a couple of years ago, but Wayne wasn't there, or somebody wasn't there, or Turk there, or whatever.
Turk was locked up. It was one of them being locked up. BG too, BG too.
And everybody was there, and everybody got to come out on stage and do their thing. So that was definitely dope. Yeah, and those magazines, man, I definitely keep those magazines on hand just for the
nostalgia. Got the Hot Boys in here too.
But yeah, they was definitely in there. Wendy Day, shout out to Wendy Day. She was instrumental in their helping them get that deal, that 30 mil. What was that 30 mil deal they got with Universal?
I think, because Master P and them got their money first. So I know Baby was going to make sure they got some money, because he had someone in the same city who was already out there hitting the pavement, being independent and getting that deal. So I know that sparked an influence, Baby, to kind of get the same situation, but come off with the fact that they could do the same thing. The reason why I bring P up, because P slid through a loophole P was given money, but they didn't realize the potential that he could do. Like, it was like, okay, you're going to give me this, but it's like a street situation. I'm going to flip that and turn that into this. And Prince did something like that when they first started the streaming platforms, which, God, man, that's a whole nother situation. He found the loophole and it catered to his situation, and they changed it after that. They made sure it was no more. He kind of found the loophole with the way Master P was going about doing the distribution and getting the money and being able to use his out the trunk method. You know, before you got all these fans, they underestimated that these country folks and their eyesight coming up to New York could really move these units and do the things that they did. So Baby's coming in after that, and he kind of had that situation in his back, knowing that, hey, we from Louisiana too. We, getting money too. Baby will tell y'all himself, I had $1 million before. So Baby kind of came with a little bit of leverage, and he didn't have to be too I'm going to take whatever y'all give me because I already got a little something. So you're going to have to show me something in order for me, because I got 5 guys and we got hot stuff. So Baby kind of had leverage in his negotiations, so I could see how that really took place.
Yeah. Now, at the end of Wayne's performance at the Louisiana Festival,
yeah,
he came on stage and he kind of talked about the whole situation with the Super Bowl. And
I didn't see that.
Yeah, so he talked about the Super Bowl and how he really wanted the opportunity since the Super Bowl was going to be in New Orleans,
I can understand that.
And all those things like that. But then he said that the Super Bowl the opportunity was taken away from him. I think people felt a certain way about saying it was taken away from him because he never really had it.
Okay.
Now, one thing, of course, fans, New Orleans, who else should be up there? Lil Wayne, you know what I'm saying? Cash Money. You know what I'm saying? Them out there and they can do their thing. But also, we all know that Super Bowl halftime performances are not determined by the city that you're in. So just because it's in New Orleans does not mean that it's going to be a New Orleans artist that's going to be on there.
That's right.
Do you think that Wayne was right in how he felt in art? Not he can feel
however he wants. I know where you're getting at.
But do you think that his comments were warranted, saying that the Super Bowl was taken away from him?
I know what you mean. You're basically saying like it was there legs to his argument, or was it coming from an emotional place, or was there actual legs to it? And that is a multi-billion-dollar business, man. That's gonna. I mean, we watched them hijack this Black Lives Matter and how they handle this Colin Kaepernick situation, and how they bring Jay-Z in to, the strength, I call it the strength in black relations. All these things like this take place. And we've seen Super Bowl fiascos with Janet Jackson and, with, who was that last group? I was actually looking this up, man, and I forgot that this took place. But in Living Color, when they did the Super Bowl, man, that Super Bowl show was, I forgot about it, but it made me look at it, man, differently, because they did the what was it, Today's Man or whatever, when they judged the movies, him and David Allen Greer and stuff. That was on halftime at the Super Bowl, man. So I mean, I look at that and they stopped that. It changed after that, and maybe that's the reason why it changed, is because of that alone. So when it comes to the Super Bowl, man, you got to take what they give you.
Man, and you're right, it has changed, because one of the things that Jay wanted to do when he came on board was he saying, hey, we're going to run out of acts.
Yes.
So instead of having all of these multiple people coming on, we're going to have this one to come on and do their thing. Now, of course, at the Super Bowl, when it was out there in LA, it was definitely Snoop Dogg, Dr. 50. So those are some big powerful names that came out there as well.
Yeah.
But now it's the opportunity for Kendrick to come out there.
Yeah.
I personally felt like Kendrick was going to pay homage to New Orleans, the bounce sound, and maybe even bring Wayne now. But with the beef in the diss records back and forth with Drake and Kendrick, I think Wayne has to stay loyal.
I've been hearing rumblings and seeing stuff that, maybe that was the plan all along, and that they were going to squash the beef at the Super Bowl. Because if he's going to bring Wayne out, Wayne's gonna more than likely some of his top records were with Drake. So it'd be smart for him to pull Drake out there and have a performance with Drake, and they can squash their beef if that's the case. But if Kendrick is feeling some type of way about it, which he shouldn't. He's got the number one records. He came out better as far as the public perception of this particular beef between Drake. He came out as the one that got the leg up. So he shouldn't be feeling any type of way as far as, I'm not going to really put Wayne on because he's going to bring Drake. He should, man, I don't even care. Like if he brings dude on, whatever. Like that's, in my opinion, if you're the top dog and you shouldn't even care. It's like he better not come out and try to do some slick stuff with the platform that I'm giving him. Now that I can understand him being, it's not out of, I don't want this guy to shine. It's that guy is known for doing slick stuff. I don't want him to try to use my platform to try to do some slick stuff back at me because Aubrey's a very different character, so I can see that going. But yeah, I definitely think that those brothers should separate us, bring it like how the LA did. I think they should do that like how LA did it.
One more thing about Super Bowl and Lil Wayne. Do you think that Lil Wayne has the records to give us a solid, dope 12-minute performance?
I think he does. I think he does have the records to do a solid performance. It's like I was saying earlier, as far as being in shape and being we always see that famous scene. Not saying Wayne is the Temptations, but we always see that famous scene with they're all trying to get work out, and Ruffin is in there and it's not really up to par with the steps, and they like, he can't really roll with you, man. Like, you got to be able to physically perform and not just go out there and drugged up and just doing stuff. You have to be physically in shape to do this type of stuff, man. Over time, when you're young, you got all type of energy. You can hit that drink, you can hit that weed, and you can go out there and perform and do things. But like I said, that's why it was easier for me to be like, well, I can do the music thing longer because all I got to do is stay in shape, keep some type of little cardio or whatever, and that will last. Don't really be, hammered off drugs like that. So I can go out here and sustain and last. His voice box, I really worry about him going up there and performing with the voice that I've heard. And that's just me being an objective lyricist, loving his lyrics. It started getting mumbled throughout his time of rap. In a situation like that, it needs to be clear the world is watching. And, he got world fans. So if it's going to be the same thing that we've been seeing on social media, there's no way in hell he could rock that to me. Like, and it makes it okay. It adds to his legacy where people are like, oh my God, when Usher did his performance, wow. When such and such did their performance, wow. When it made you go back, and they always say a day later, streamings for that artist went through the charts. Would that be the same for him if he goes out there and does a performance like we saw in that festival? Like, if it's exactly that, no, but you got to give that man a chance to maybe take that as, look, this is the most serious opportunity I'm going to get. I'm going to prepare. I'm going to get ready for this. I'm training. Maybe he's doing it now. I'm going to make sure I give a good performance. So I'm just going off of what we've seen in that festival, but we got to give this brother a chance where if he knows he's going to get down to prepare and train for it and bring us a better product out there, because that's not Super Bowl quality. I don't care. I admired him too growing up. I mean, I was in these book magazines too. Yeah. Definitely enjoyed him, but that's not good enough, man. In his standards, the young 16-year-old him, if he was looking at that, he would know that's not good enough. It ain't got nothing to do with no hating or not liking. That's not good enough. You got to step it up as far as his performance, because we expect better from our greats.
Real talk. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%. Now, you brought up Drake. You called him Aubrey, Drake, whatever we want to call him.
Yeah.
Did you see him at the Toronto game staring down, mumbling DeMar DeRozan? Did you peep that? And what?
Drake
I understand it. You feel me? You supposed to be my man. The K-Dot video, you walking. You crib, we boys. You gon' club Shay Shay, you know. How do you think that is, you know, Drake he missed the festival to, you know, for the stare down.
That's why I say Aubrey, because when people talk about him, that's what they say. They were like, oh, Aubrey. But then you see stuff like that, and you be like, well, yeah, you know, then you get to see. That's one of those things I'll hold over somebody. If I'm in my house eating off my plates and my food, and we, you know, conducting, he got the right to act like that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He got the right to act like that. That's why we forget this is a human being. This is a man, you know, a grown man at the end of the day, too. We get too caught up in the stardom and all that. And they see that these are two men who've had issues with each other in the past, good ones, and then now we have this situation where there's some type of tension, and they're not gonna. I understand why he's feeling like that. He's probably like, man, I want to send this guy a message that I'm not rocking with him, man, and I got an issue with because these guys don't talk on the phone. They don't really communicate. That might have been his first opportunity to see him, and he was like, I'm gonna give this guy. I'm gonna give him a message. I'm gonna give him a message like, yo, I know what you did, man, and I'm not rocking.
And he said he's gonna take his
jersey. Drake having me rolling, man. And I think his Family Matters just went platinum, man, too. His Family Matters on that, and that to me, that's one of the hardest Drake records ever, because I really looked at his stuff over the last few, and I've been really off it due to him, you know, his lanes that he has many lanes that he caters to, and that he assists in his music capability, which he should. You got the talent, put out the music. That one really surprised me. Man, because he came at it. And I know people want to talk about this guy all they want, but he brought it on that. Like, he really brought it, and I just seen that went platinum. And I thought that, to me, that was one of his hardest records. I just had to mention that because, you know, we all were talking about it here and voicing it, and to see it play out, you know, I definitely went back and looked, and I said, oh yeah, that he showed a different side, or similar things that we've known him before. He brought it all out in that track, so I definitely wanted to big him up on that.
Logan Paul, Mike Tyson.
Oh man,
real deal. Stage setup, money grab.
There were opportunities.
Yeah, opportunities
for Tyson to deliver. Watching his training and seeing the preparation in his training, that's like someone riding a bike or reciting something or you get into the habit of doing something, y'all. And when you're in the opportunities present themselves to where you've religiously gone over something, you're going to take those opportunities. They're going to come natural to the point where you don't even think about it. You're just reacting off of training. This guy's been involved in this sport too long, man, coming from the rugged streets of Brownsville. Like, I don't believe it. I don't believe it, man.
When you look at the video, you can tell Tyson was he was holding back. He kept fumbling with the mouthpiece the whole time.
Yeah,
they said that was giving him some issues as well. And then on top of that, you know, he is an older guy, you know, but still, I think he still got that.
He should have laid some shots.
Yeah, he wasn't even.
He should have laid a few more shots, man. And I don't expect him to go out there and run circles around this guy, but I expect him to take advantage of the opportunities where he had punches. He didn't even have counters. When have we seen Mike Tyson not be able to counter a punch? You know, I mean, just the fact that he hit a shot, he had an opportunity, and it's like we seen a big pause between the opportunity that he could have came with a counter or you know, to get a 2-hit, 3-hit, 4-hit combo, and he just sitting back there just waiting for dude to kind of get back on your feet. Okay, let's go. And I'm like,
get to it. Yeah.
I'm like, nah, man, it's not right by the eyes. It just never looked good for me from the start of that fight. It looked like something funny was going on, man.
Yeah, I understood.
Get your money, Tyson. Get your money, man.
Yeah,
get that money
and go do your one too.
Not mad at him at all. I forgot to say what I was doing, what I was coming out with, and what was going to be what I was going to drop in the future. I forgot that.
Well, actually, I get that to you I get that in the end.
Yeah, because we rolling. We rolling. We good content.
Yeah, we definitely roll. Now let me see. Let me go here. Let's go here. it was just announced that rap star NBA YoungBoy will
Oh,
receive
man.
2 months in jail and 60 months on probation for this whole situation that he has going on. I want to say something's with the gun case, something's with the little drugs in Utah.
I don't like it.
And all of that, man. What you think about that?
I don't like what these young brothers are doing out here, man. I really do not like it. And I mean, I'm not saying that I don't like them as young men. I just, because I understand where they're at. Been that young, been around. You cannot tell these guys are on top of the world right now, man. And people, when they judge them, they tend to forget. How did you feel when no one could tell you nothing back in the day? You know, when you didn't care what nobody else. That's how these guys are feeling. They're making a lot of money right now. They're on top of the world. They are the lime. They're in the limelight of their situations. And I just hope, because I know how hard this world is, and I know how these brothers get put in this situation, I pray that they're not a part of this octopus organization where they're the fall. They take a fall on these guys, man, because they know these guys influence. And it's good business if I can influence somebody to fill up these, we go into a situation with the BlackRock, and we can fill up these jails. And they did a big ordeal about this, man, with the music and who invests in the prisons and all this stuff. And BlackRock and I forget the other Vanguard, I think it is, or BlackRock. And this stuff is true. You guys look this stuff up. Like, they invest in these prisons. They're also invested in the music industry. A lot of the same companies invest in the music industry, and it goes hand in hand. So I just hope these brothers are not that they look at themselves and don't be an instrument for what is going on in your communities. You don't want to be an instrument for it. Like, I mean, hey, you doing what you're doing, whatever, but you're not going to use me to lock black folks up or other people up. You're not going to use me for that. So when they get in trouble themselves, it's almost like no matter what y'all do, we can always keep y'all in check. And we always reel y'all in, because I believe these guys are doing these crimes and doing this stuff all along. So it's like, to me, what made these guys get in trouble now? So I think about stuff like that, man. I really do think about it. I'm not condoning anything to do. I just believe that they've always been doing this stuff all along. So the fact that you want to get them now, okay, maybe that case is strong enough. Maybe it's political time. We need to set an example. Like, there's a lot of things that they try to put in place. And now's the time. We already got one in trouble. Let's make it a domino effect so we can really manipulate minds when it comes to voting and things of that nature.
Yeah, that too. And especially on another thing, you hear a lot about these record execs having life insurance on the artists.
Empire like a mug, man.
These artists passed away, and then boom, what happens?
Yep. That's a real thing. I think Dame was talking about that with Leor and all of them. I mean, Empire, people could look that up. Just look at how many of them died and think about the insurance policies that were placed on all of them. You got an insurance policy on your home, you got an insurance policy on whatever, something that gets eradicated, you get money for it. You get to replace that in value. So something definitely is going on there. I mean, that's not a secret.
Yeah,
not at all. So the fact that that's what I'm saying. I wish these brothers, rather they're dying or getting put in prison or whatever, how many of them have been successful recently? This is the most, their era will not be able to look back on any of their greats in their eyes. Their greats, they're all dead or are going to be in jail. We've had a few people die, natural causes or murder with Pac, Big L, things of that nature, but you can still look at a lot of them and they're alive and well. This era, man, they've been assassinated. It's like they've been assassinated, man. It's been, when you get to over 15 deaths, man, something fishy going on. Something fishy's going on, man, and I don't think people, because of the fact that that's why I wish I could have a talk with these brothers, man. Rather they respected me, well, man, you don't really know what you're talking about or whatever. Yes, I do, because y'all need to look at the fact that you guys are at a level that, yeah, you're going to get a lot of people following what you're doing. You're going to influence a lot of people, but at the same time, your downfall is a celebration in some households. Your downfall is they can't never have nothing. See how they act when they get stuff? you're down for, you got to have just as much animosity in your heart for making it out of your situation, that you don't want your situation to get looked at as a mockery. You want to look at what's the one that's doing real good for himself out of all of them. Is it it's not the baby, is it Little Baby?
Little Baby out of that whole Little
He
Baby,
had a documentary and all that.
Yeah.
He had a documentary. Now see, and I don't really listen to his music, but you know what? I listen to him talk. I've seen some of the stuff he's doing. That guy got a good mind. He's rocking with a good mind state, because you cannot sustain by doing what they want you to do. At some point, you're going to have to go against the grain, fall out of the limelight slowly, or it's going to come to a screeching damn halt, because you're already too far in. With the way that these guys are promoting their music, they're successful. And when you're that successful, there is a price that comes along with with you being in those doors and being introduced and seeing those things. And it's like the mob. You're not getting out alive, or you're not going to get out on your own terms. Dude, I don't gave you millions and millions of dollars, and I need this favor done. I need you to do some of these things that I need you to do, and I need you to influence some of it. I don't think people really understand it. Now they do. I think they understand now to a degree that this stuff is real, man. It's real, and you're starting to see a domino of people losing their life. It's not by chance or coincidence.
Yeah, I think that's the Baby.
Yeah,
Baby who had that documentary and just
yeah.
For definitely him. That was he was on there because he'd been next to 50. You know, they kind of the whole.
Not the Baby. The one that's
Well, he got caught up with the cancel culture.
No, not that one.
Okay.
Not that one.
So you
not that one.
Baby.
Yeah, that one. He was the one that was like, he did a documentary saying that, I wanted to change. I was growing up and doing this stuff. And he was more instrument of change when he hit his spotlight. That's his way out. That is his young brothers out there. That's that brother's way out. Now, granted, he won't watch over time. I guarantee you, he will not ever burn. His fire will never burn as bright and as it has in the past. He'll have a grace, like they say, bow gracefully. But that is his instrument, and this guy can go into politics. Like he put up a good presentation to the point where this guy could be where he's like, okay, we may not be able to use him like that. We can use him to influence some of these candidates, where he gets up there and we see all these celebrity that he's put himself in that lane now, is what I'm trying to say. Just by speaking and having some type of common sense and knowledge and wherewithal about where he sees his life going. He's still a part of that instrument, but now he can be used in other ways that is beneficial to what what the overseers are putting in place. They know they can use him at a elevated level for their message if he chooses to go about that way.
Gotcha. Dirk just hired the same lawyer who got NBA YoungBoy his 27 months in prison and 60-month probation. Now Dirk is facing murder for hire. Just been extradited out to LA, and he pled not guilty. Not looking, I don't want to say it's not looking too good for Dirk, because we have not heard the information that has came out yet. So have you been following the Dirk case and what's been going on?
I do, but like I said, I question everything that I hear on the media, man. Like I can't believe it, man. I need to know more about what's going on with Little Dirk, and that's impossible because it's a trial and it's a case. So you're not going to be presenting facts while it's active. But if they're going to paint it, it depends on how the media is portraying. If they're going heavy on his music and heavy on the things that he said, not saying that it did not happen or whatever, but I'm just telling y'all, wave caution to some of this stuff, because it looks real good. It looks good that this guy is talking about all this stuff and that he would commit something like this. But I'm telling you, man, this is how this stuff goes down, and people don't understand, man. When you got these guys that are in your crews and running around with you, 9 times out of 10, you want to protect the person that is the star. And you got a bunch of these guys that are hanging out with these guys. Man, these guys go back, get pulled over, and they're reckless, got a bunch of things on them, or got these, and they get pulled over, man. We need a favor, or you're going to jail for this stuff right here. Hey, we need you to, it's not the fact that this guy is is doing this stuff, now it's being prepped to get him in this situation. See, that's why I'm looking at it like, okay, yeah, he's capable of doing that. We hear rappers rap about it all the time. Oh, I'm going to just call up such and such and such and get you whacked off or whatever. We've heard that in rap a lot. So that does not surprise me. 50, I put some money on your head. We hear that all the time. So it doesn't surprise me. But I'm just saying it was tailored. It could have, when I'm hearing that this guy's wearing a wire and he's sitting up there with them, how much of that was manufactured and tailored just because we need to get this case and we need to get this guy, who knows? He could have turned down something. They could have offered something on the table to this guy a while back, and he could have been like, I'm not doing whatever. Oh, we got to get him now. I don't really go by that stuff, man.
And it's crazy because I saw, and not a lot of outlets ran this story, but I saw that the guy never was wearing a wire.
Oh, he wasn't wearing the wire.
It was a totally different case. Now, I don't know how true that is because now it goes back to what we said. We gotta wait until the
That's right. That's right.
Out. Now we can determine because now somebody's just taking this man's face and said he's the guy who wore the wire. He's villain. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, now you put now if he didn't, and this media is running with this, are you putting him and his family
in jeopardy?
In jeopardy? You putting them in a situation because nobody really knows except those individuals.
And see, that could be something of trying to get somebody to do something against this guy. So now they got that, they got that at their disposal too, because they want a retaliation. And this guy's sitting up here innocent as day. And they retaliate to this guy. Now they got that got that to throw in there. So you just never know. It's a business, and it's a business to lie, and it gives you a license to lie, manipulate, and just do whatever you can to close your case. And that's what I don't think these people realize when you're dealing with the DEA and dealing with that. Their business is to make sure that they get this case going and get all these facts lined up for how it needs to be in their benefit, man. And they will do whatever it takes.
You are 100% correct, because if you guys haven't been watching the YSL trial, that was the biggest.
This dude wasted 2 years of his life, man.
Stephen, you like, are y'all seriously trying to tie this
ridiculous.
to something? It's ridiculous.
It was ridiculous, man.
Oh, then they come, man. It was crazy. Like I was, like I'm not gonna lie. Like I became tuned in to the YSL trial because it was so much going on. But I was following this dude, Seti Nash, out of LA, and he would do a recap. So I wouldn't have to watch everything, but he would do a recap for me and really touch on the important things that went on during the day. But then there's other channels because so many people were streaming it. There's so many other channels that are running different things. So I'm watching and I'm looking and I'm like, man, are they serious? They are like taking lyrics and they're really trying to tie all of these things together to fit a narrative to make these guys look like they are a mob and they're running this criminal organization. And what I took from it is a bunch of guys who, some is cool. I know some of y'all, you bringing other guys around, you know what I'm saying? And everybody's hanging out, kicking it. And if I'm not around, y'all going off and y'all are committing crimes. And then some of y'all are coming back around me, and now they're just trying to tie all of this together. So it's a whole bunch of cats running around doing a whole bunch of stupid stuff, you know what I'm saying, beefing with other crews, and they're retaliating. And unfortunately, some people get killed, some people go to jail. That's
especially with our young, with our young people, and it happens in every era.
And the biggest thing that I saw out of it, like a lot of their case came from, well, we got this off of your social media page.
That's not good enough.
We got this off of your Instagram.
It's not good enough.
Oh, we got this off of the phone calls that you guys had because we done had the phones tapped, and these guys are having conversations.
This guy should have walked years ago. Yeah, and what I would hit him back with, and I'm not even involved in any law or whatever, this is just common damn sense. It's a business on the other side too. And my business is selling freaking records if I'm him. And yeah, sometimes I need to exaggerate a story or exaggerate a situation to exhaust my image or what I'm trying to portray.
Just like a biopic.
Exactly. Just to make my record believable. So yeah, you might hear I don't did this or did that or whatever, that was to sell that record. And I know when we were coming up, that was looked at as, you get a knock on your street cred. Your life on the line and you in there, then you need to be throwing that card out. You need to be saying, man, this is a business. I'm trying to make my money and take care of my family. Yeah. Like, I'm no different than Steven Spielberg. I'm no different
this is the art.
Exactly. I'm no different than Stephen King. I'm no different than any of these guys, man. I'm up here sketching out my work. And this is what I'm doing. So you're not putting Stephen King on trial for all the evil stuff that he's been writing and putting together, because his horror films is just crazy. Like that, some type of stuff could put you in prison forever if they just imagine them going after a guy like that because of his work. Man, that guy be up under the jail, man.
Real, all the way up
under the jail, man.
All the way. Now, you being from Michigan. Big Meech, Detroit native.
Man, good to see him home, man.
Just came home, halfway house.
Good to see him home.
Seen him taking pictures with 50, the whole G Unit crew. What do you see for him in the future, and how much of an influence was Meech? Do you think Meech has been to the culture?
Every bit of it. Meech. I'm just trying to remember the time frame where I was conscious about what they were like about his name. You kept hearing his name. And I'm at the time like I'm gonna just explain y'all the demographics in Michigan. You got Muskegon, my hometown, about 3 hours from Detroit. You had things changing during that time frame, man. Like everyone there was pretty much working first shift, second shift, third shift. When you started seeing cats. And this is me coming back and forth, from whatever countries and being there in the summer, you start seeing some wealth jump up in some cats. Like you start seeing some real money out there. And it just didn't dawn on me. I had to go back and think about this stuff. And my mother was telling me some stuff, with her brothers and, things that were going on. I'm not going to really air that out. But just certain things were changing with people. And you knew that they were a part of something that was moving. It just never dawned on me until I was down in Arizona and I started, because I didn't know about I was thinking Meech was from Texas, because it wasn't my business to really know that world like that. So I'm just seeing them making moves in Texas, and I'm thinking, this guy in Texas got it going on. Big Meech out there killing it in Texas, because he had Texas in Atlanta, but he influenced a lot of that Texas culture too, man, with a lot of those guys out there where how they was getting down kind of remind me like of that Pimp C type nature. So that's where I kind of would get Meech mixed in with, because he had that type of spirit about him. Like, hey, my man, he's gonna get his. He's gonna get his. We all coming. He had that type of vibe to him. So that's why I know he was a true Michigan brother, because that's how a lot of us are. Where we're like, man, we're not really trying to get into this stuff. We're just trying to make our money or do what we do and go about our business. Like just all this funny stuff, we leave it alone, man. So to see his impact when 50 came through and put it on screen like that was real good for me to see, because I was too young to really know what he had going on. But to go back and see it, I was like, now I wonder, like our whole style, everything that we were doing, it made me see things that I was doing growing up or saying, not even knowing that I was getting it from them, but I'm getting it from my older cousins or my family members, not knowing that they're getting it from Big Meech, or they getting it from them. So I'm talking and saying stuff that they were doing and not even knowing where it was coming from. And later seeing that, I was like, man, he's got a major influence over Michigan and now over the whole country,
Yeah, definitely. Big Meech had a crazy influence. BMF had a big influence from Detroit all the way down to Atlanta.
Their Atlanta parties used to be epic, man. I remember just hearing about him in Phoenix, man, when he was still out. Their Atlanta parties were epic because everybody in Arizona was, you see, I was already in there with some certain people. They were already talking about Atlanta, going down there. It was huge at being in it, and I just didn't put two and two together like why it was so big. But the point is, you got to think, when we see the documentary, he the one with the most money down there. So if everybody, all I can just tell y'all is to chatter on the outside. And everybody was like, we're going to Atlanta. We're going to go down to ATL. It's going down. Now it made me see why they were going down to ATL. They were going down to ATL because this dude was pretty much, I'm paying for this stuff. Everybody come through. And they went through there. People was going all over the country sliding down there. They didn't 50. He painted the perfect picture on that. Because I was around the country and I got to see people were flocking to Atlanta, man.
Going crazy out there.
It was crazy.
Man. Going crazy. Recently, Diddy, his kids ran down on Ray J.
I've been seeing this, man. What's going on with this Ray J?
They said, I think it was
Did he say something? Did he say something about him?
And the kids wanted to run down. The kids ran down on him.
That's their father, man.
Yeah, I mean, what do you expect? They gonna run down on them, man. Well, you know, I mean, do you think that do you think that the rundown was warranted, or do you think that the things that have been said are, you know, people are cool? Because, you know, at one point in time, people were putting Meek Mill with Diddy, and then just recently you hear Meek out saying no Diddy, and then
I saw that.
You see the kids kind of on the status like shaking my head, you know what I'm saying? So
it's funny business going on right now, and maybe it's in his best interest to disassociate himself from Diddy on a legal matter. So as far as whatever Meek's painting, like they say, you're guilty in public opinion first before they get you in that trial. So maybe that's his way of, hey, man, I don't want nothing to do with this. Yeah, so I know how that whole thing goes with them. He's a part of that. Once you in that industry, man, you a part of that. So that could be his way of being like, hey, I don't got nothing to do with that on the low, you know. So I can see that. But the kids, I can't tell nobody what to do with their father, man.
Right.
Yeah, if they feel like they're going to ride for their father, at the end of the day, that's their father, and they're going to ride for him, and they're going to do whatever they need to do for him, man. And I know I've seen people, Charlemagne, you know, man, y'all did need to call them and tell them to chill it out. You know, yeah, if you want to look at it from a fatherly role, and you're in that position to voice your opinion to them and they actually receive your message. But if you are not that type of man where they are going to respect you for being a fatherly type role, there ain't nothing that you can say to them, man. You got to let them go about it on what he's instilled in them. They're grown men at this point. They should have already had enough life lessons from Pops. Pops can hit them up and let them know, hey, man, y'all need to stop. Go about this a different way. They're grown men. Whatever they do, they're responsible for it. And if they just want to run down on them, there got to be a good reason why they felt like because you got to think, a lot of people are saying stuff about this man. They choose this guy to run down on. They could run down on somebody every day of the week with all the stuff I'm seeing. Everybody talking about him. So the fact that they chose him, maybe it's lower hanging fruit, or maybe it's like, hey, you know, I don't really like what this guy said, or I got to take it out on somebody. Like, I'm hearing boom, Ray J. I got to take this anger and frustration out on somebody. It could be an issue like that, too. Somebody got to get this, man. No, they're not going to do that.
Marquise might get it on. Marquise might just because he 50 son.
You laugh at them, man, if they even tried.
50, man, 50 be like, what? Are y'all serious? Come on, I'll take both of y'all at the same time. Let's go. Take all y'all at the same time. Let's get to it. Now, talking about running down on somebody, Ray J also issued a little warning for Pastor Brian. He says, hey, they did an interview. He said he don't want some of them parts of that interview to come out, and, you know, it's going to be some issues if this do come out or whatever. But I feel as if you know that you're going on these platforms, you know what the platform is like, you should be conscious of the things that you are saying. But maybe he's going through some things that we don't know about. Yeah. Has him expressing these things, and he felt comfortable. Because these pastors and these people can make you feel comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
Because they are also a part of, you know, they take those classes and those courses on counseling. So they can get you comfortable. And now you done let your hair down, and now you really digging into what you have going on. But this is a podcast show and not a counselor.
That's where, if someone is moving in the right direction as far as being conscious about what they're saying, you always need to be, it's like a conductor with an orchestra. You should be speaking out the way that you need to speak out, not being manipulated. As soon as you start saying something or start letting someone pull you in on what their narrative is, you've lost control of yourself and of your interview. That's why you need to be not inebriated. When you're talking about serious stuff, you need to be, coherent, and you need to have look through notes, whatever it takes, man, and make sure you're ready to go. These guys have big influencers. They got a lot of people that look up to them, and they got a huge following. They know better. Like, you need to have somebody go over this information with you. What type of questions we're going to ask, or what type of answers. So when they do mess up, it really makes me wonder what's going on, because they got all those tools at their disposal.
Now, Pastor Brian did say that his lawyer was there.
See?
They stopped the interview. They talked about some things because there's some legal stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
There, you know what I'm saying? And then they got back on and they began talking.
So what is he talking about this interview? Like, he's going to leak these things?
Well, he didn't say he wasn't going to leak. He wasn't going to leak it. I think Ray J was under the impression that he may include some of these portions of the conversation, and then maybe a few days later, after he sat down and thought about the conversation, he probably was like, "Hey, we really need to cut some of this stuff out." So I don't know why he sent the message that way through social media and let me do this versus picking up the phone and just being like, "Hey,
yeah, private."
Because Pastor ended up coming back and saying, "Hey, this I'm not going to do these things to this brother. You know what I'm saying? I'm, just off of my morals.
Yes.
This is how I'm going to operate and do things."
And that's, I don't really know too much about it to really answer, but I'm just going off of, I just know that they have to have those things in place to protect these people, man. And that's a pastor at the end of the day, not saying that means anything, but it would really make him look bad to do another black brother wrong and stand for whatever he's standing for on Sunday. So that would be a good way to verbalize his support for this brother and not put his business out, because what do you think people are going to do when they look at that and they think about the stuff that they've said in counseling to him and his congregation when they've asked to have counsel with this pastor?
Exactly.
So that domino effect goes back to his congregation and the husbands and wives and people that have had situations where they have spoken to him privately. Now, do those people question him and think, so that's why I say it's all a business, y'all. All this stuff is business, man. And I think the illusion that comes across us is we act like things get too personal and the lines get blurry, when all along the person that was thinking everything's a business 24/7, that's the most successful person, because they're not looking at taking anything emotionally attached, unless it's, and people even look at their own marriages as businesses. So I mean, it's all a business, and if the smarter, most savvy business person, every day look at all of it like that.
Kai Cenat, are you familiar with Kai Cenat?
Uh-uh.
He's the big streamer guy. He has everybody coming to his house. They come to his crib. He stream. He gets onto his Twitch and they do the whole stream and people come kick it.
Yeah. Okay. The brother, right?
Yeah.
I know who you talking about. I know who you talking about now. Yeah.
Right. So reports has just came out that Kai Cenat, he made history as the first Twitch streamer to surpass 400,000 subscribers, with each subscription priced at $4.99.
This dude is killing them
per month.
This dude is killing them.
So that translates over to nearly 2 million in monthly subscription.
He's killing them. He's maneuvered his lane, man.
Crazy, ain't it? And now you see a lot of people, they come into Kai Cenat.
Yeah.
This is what we're going here.
Didn't he have Kyrie Irving on that?
Man, I don't know if he had if he did, I don't know. I don't know if I've seen that one, but I know he's had
some
Kevin
people.
Hart.
And they've been playing video games.
The Jabberwockies on there.
That's what I'm saying. Like this dude.
You know what I'm saying? So they just made him an honorary Jabberwocker. They did the whole thing where he decked out something, and they did like the whole prison thing, and everybody was locked up.
It's a shift, man.
So it was definitely a shift in the culture with the whole Twitch and the way that people are receiving and going to get their.
Look at Joe Rogan with
the Trump interview
with Trump and I look at the people that he's had on there prior to that. Those are the type of minds that usually watch Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan has had some of the people that I've watched that have been influenced by some of these master speakers that I've told y'all about when I earlier with their names. So I tend to tap in. So to see that being something that is shifting over to this, and seeing this guy that you're mentioning with this Twitch, man, it's a new day, man. I think modern media has crashed, and it's a new day.
It's a new damn day for sure. Speaking of a new day, Dame Dash, he just lost his stake in Rockefeller, sold for $1 million.
I saw
to the
that.
State. I mean, like, I don't know how to feel about that.
That
hurts.
$1 million.
A mil.
I think he should have lowered the price when he was trying to sell it to people.
I seen him say that Drake offered $6 million to disappear.
Should have took it.
He said he offered 6 and he disappeared.
That's why, like a business people, when you get, and he knows this, he should know he was a successful businessman. Too much feelings. I know the feelings of that because I shared the same feelings, man. We loved Rockefeller when they were coming up,
yes,
man.
Sir.
It hurt us
Seeing
when those guys
split.
broke up. That hurt us, man. That really did. Never really felt the same way about the situation ever again, but he should have sold that for less, because now look what happened at the end of the day. 1 million. And I think Vlad was saying something about, he was explaining it, why he was trying to sell it for 10, because he broke down what he owed. He owed a certain amount of money for a lawsuit. He owed a certain amount of money, $800,000 for child support and this and that, and it would have equaled 10. He was trying to clear that debt. So I understand that, but 6 would have got you closer to 1. If Drake was offering 6, you should have took that damn 6. Yeah. Now you know, when you do, you got to take big chunks. When it's millions, you got to take chunks off that money, man. We ain't talking about $500 or $5,000. We talking big money. You got to take chunks off that, man. Get it as low as you possibly can.
Yeah, man. And part of his stake in Reasonable Doubt.
I saw that too.
Part of that, I think he was also. I don't know if the chain is included, but I think he was going to.
Yeah, I saw the chain.
Or
yeah,
something like
that's a legacy that's gone, man.
Yeah, man.
It's gone, man.
It's tough, man. That's definitely tough. But man, Pengame, dope having you on the show, man. Thanks for coming through. But before you get out of here, you got to let us know what's going on with Pengame Classic when it comes to the music, what's going on with Category Other, and also linking up with my boy from my boy Cool Rock from Fat Boys. Let everybody know where they can catch you at and all of that, all the information about what you got coming up.
Right now, it's Nostalgia of a Fall Classic is out. I got the it's on my Bandcamp, other.bandcamp.com, because I've shifted away from the streaming platforms. And what I want to say real quick about that is, if you're an artist, they're doing this under 1,000 thing. If you don't have enough streams to where you can hit 1,000, then you should leave the streaming platforms altogether and don't even put your stuff out there, because you're not going to get paid for it anyway. So why even put it up? If you're an artist that's getting over the 1,000, but you know you're able to do shows, you're able to go that way, it's easy access, because it's always got to be business minded. That way it's easy access. Then it pays for you to keep your music on streaming, because you're touching new people, and they're going to grab their phones and they're going to go onto their subscriptions, and boom, you get them that way. If you're a little bit above that, where now you got your own little base and you got enough people coming in, you should remove your music off there. If you're getting bigger numbers than just the medium, then you need to pull your music off there, have your website, have people set up for direct purchases, because you're doing shows and you can verbally tell your audience, hey, it's going down. It's like someone saying the party's over here. Well, the party's on suchandsuch.com. For me right now, the party's at other.bandcamp.com. Also have the physical copies that can be purchased. Where I'm at with it, man, is I'm going to have pretty much my own website where people can go in there. But I got the hard copies set up where if you order it, it will the manufacturers will kick you the CD or the vinyl. I got the 12-inch vinyls as well. They'll kick it to you, and I don't have to really mess with that process at all. So that's why I'm looking at these artists and seeing there's so many ways that we can maneuver and do things that it makes it very, very easy when you already have a little bit of a fan base to kind of do, where I don't think some of these artists need these streaming platforms to, you know, I think it's a purpose, and you always should look at a situation of how it can help you and do that. but don't rely on it. Once you rely on it, it's always going to go to who's in charge of that and their plan to help their pockets out. So that's how I look at that whole streaming thing. But definitely nostalgia of a fall classic. Shout out to Alias Unknown. He's out of Louisville, Kentucky. Produced that whole project, man. Dude's dope. I think he's out here in Radcliffe too. Dude's dope. Really love this sound. I link with him through Toast Johnson, producer from The Leftovers, out in NYC. And it's funny that, he was out here in Kentucky, y'all, the whole time. So right up the street. So we got together. He had that hip hop sound and stuff that I liked. We went ahead and put this project together. It took a while for it to really, really shape, but we got that together, man. And it's pretty much nostalgia, just like the title. And the Fall Classic just goes back from me always putting out stuff in the fall. Over since 2012, I've kind of always put an album out in the fall. So it's like my clock is set for that particular time frame. So every time I'm getting ready to drop in the fall, I always say, okay, it's fall, like baseball. It's Fall Classic. I'm always like, it's Fall Classic time. Something's about to drop. And that one, nostalgia of a Fall Classic, is a commemorative of us growing up. We talked about some of the college thing, like this stuff. I implement all this stuff in my music. Vo's in the CD, in the cover, you open it up and it's me with I got the Hypnotic and the Hennessy with my old ICC sweater. And people know I've been telling people, I went to people, Last Chance U. I'm like, I went to Independence Community College. I'm wearing my ICC shirt with the crew with the Hennessy and with the Hypnotic, because we were mixing that up, making that Incredible Hulk, and they're handling our business. And I got the girls in there. I'm in there one like this. We were in Irvin. I'm going like this. There's 3 girls around. Like, this stuff was real. Like, this stuff, it was real business. We were really out there doing this stuff, man. And it just goes to, well, I'm never really fazed by nothing when I put out my music now, because I try to go for a different message. That's why you don't really hear a lot of the stuff from me that a lot of these other artists done, because I've lived it to the point where I'm just like, okay, I got children now. Once you have children, it's like, it's bad enough. Some of the old stuff is already laid down. It can be heard. It's out there in the world. Some of the old stuff that a brother may not be too proud about is kind of circulating. So I'll be damned if I go forward still repeating the same. At some point in time, you got to grow up, man. You got to stand on something or stand for nothing. So that's why I always make sure that I'm more into the art of music, more into the what our culture represents as far as the greatness. I really think it's greatness. Even these young brothers today, it's greatness. It's great that what we've done for so long, and I've loved that part of it, and that's where I want to continue to go. So when I go forward, I will work with whoever, and if I continue to have the love for the music, which I've done, I'm going to keep putting it out, because it's just a part. It's just a part of us that we've grown up with. And it's when we grew up to hip hop, it's like people growing up to when Jordan sneakers was first coming out.
Yes, sir.
They're sneaker heads. They're crazy. That's how we were about hip hop. Like, we were watching it blow up, just like saw the Jordans blowing up. We were there when it didn't sell out the first day. You can go back a week later and get the J's, not because it's not selling. It's just because that's how it was. That's just how it was back then. You didn't have to really appear the first day to get it. So we remember that. And now it's just blown up to where it's like we need some type of regularity on what makes our culture, because we're selling it. We've gotten so much into corporate world that we are practicing what they're doing, and we're selling out our own culture, and it's not looking like what it was intended to be from the beginning. So we have to, those of us that are old enough and putting out music responsibly or whatever, just add some cultural elements to it. No one's telling you to change the way you view. Just add some cultural elements to it and keep it going, and rock it in your generation and keep it going, but respect and love the whole timeline. It's not about what happened 5-10 years ago. It's what happened over time. And you add all that into your style. Now you are hip hop. And that's what we did. We tried to take, we didn't knock out the the 90s and the 2000s, we held on to that like, oh, this is our era. We gonna rep our era, but we made sure we kept we brought all the other eras mixed in, and that's where I'm gonna take each and every one of my records with. Going forward, I'm making sure I take everybody and mixing them in. It takes a while for me to get comfortable with dropping a new album because I dissect the world around me. I try to implement and take things in, filter it through, and then boom, put out another record. So we definitely got the Mellow Aphrodite 2 coming out. I'm going to do a project with Teflon Adon. Y'all keep hearing me talk about Teflon Adon. We did a project, Vosley's Chromosol, but I'm going to do one with just his production on there too. And after that, we're going to take it slow. I got, son's birthday's about to be in another day. Daughter really active in her school life and things that she's got going on. I make sure I have a balance in life. And, I don't want to get too wrapped into how I used to do things musically. I got to spread the time around. So, that's what I make sure I do. And we got to make money and live and survive, too, at the same time. So it is what it is.
That's real talk. Where can people find you at on the social media channels? Go ahead and drop your handles.
I got at Pengame Classic. I still do the X because of the sports. I know people are, and that's another thing, with our people. If we decide that we're not going to do X because of Elon Musk and all of this stuff, then people will be looking at me like, oh, he's not down, he's supporting this, and you guys here, after hearing this, I don't really give a damn about none of it. But that is my following as far as my sports lane. That's also something that I'm about to get into with the sports. Not quite like Cam and Mace. As you guys know, I have an extensive background in sports. I want to be more serious with it, not saying that they're not, but they're more comical with some of the things that they do. I want to bring more like just focus on the college part. I don't really want to talk about the professionals that much because I think that college fanatic in being in the Michigan and Ohio States and Kansas State, and just keep that type of energy because people love that stuff, man, and being a part of it and seeing how that goes. Louisville, UK.
I was just
when you're seeing that ain't going nowhere. That's gonna be here. That's the audiences I'm talking to with my sports, and that's where it's going to go. That's why I keep my X account going, because every Saturday with my Michigan faithful on there that I've met some of them in person. When I went to the Illinois game, I met a few of them in person, and the Detroit Lions One Pride crew, that the people that we just talking sports. These people got careers, homes, lawyers, people just all walks of life. They're all doing things, and they go on there to talk about their team. And that's what I don't do. I had to tell a few people on there, hey, man, during the election, I'm like, yo, there's a game on Saturday. Like, y'all gonna get along or what? Like, can we talk sports? Or right. Half of the fan base was beefing with each other, within their own fan base. People were unfollowing each other, and you talking about a fan base that supports the same team. So that's why I'm like, yo, forget that. There's a time and place for that. But you think about that when you go into your groceries, and you think about that when you go into the pump. You think about that when there's certain things cut and you don't reap the benefits from that. Then you think about that stuff, and usually you're by yourself when that happens. And that's what people need to look at politics and look at that and take that into consideration and worry about making a responsible decision. But when we're on these platforms, man, have fun, talk. We need to get off of this stuff because we're catering to whatever the puppet string controllers are want. So we got to get off that and just do what makes us feel good when we're in the public, now I guess social media setting, and represent ourselves for our brands, because you see these guys out here doing what they're doing, and I don't think people understand. Now you have to be a business brand and influencer. You got to look at it as a business brand and influencer. So you have to really not portray, but you got to be the bottom. What they say, what's good for business is the bottom line. And you can't get wrapped up into that stuff, man. I don't even think Drake, we were talking about him earlier, Drake doesn't say nothing about religion or politics. Michael Jordan, people got on him, didn't touch politics. I look at that now like that brother was smart. He was smart to leave that alone. He's smart.
Just
leave that stuff alone.
And it's not,
man.
You can have your opinion, but you know what? And you can vote.
But remember in the documentary, he gave the dude some money. Yeah. He says, mom was like, he's like, I'm not publicly doing nothing, but I'll give him some campaign donation. Right. So there you go.
It. All right, listen, I'm going to do what I want to do on my time, in my fashion, and I don't need the public to see that. and I'm cool with it, and that's how we going.
Public, we got to guard ourselves, y'all. We got to guard ourselves, man, and we don't know what type of strings is working with this media. That's why you see people rather trust a Joe Rogan or this Twitch guy or these other people on these platforms, because they know that they know when they go on there, what they say is not going to get twisted, not going to get taken, and turned into something else. And they're comfortable. They're going to speak and say what they're going to say. They know it's going to be edited and properly put out there to where the audience is going to get an authentic feel for what they were saying, opposed to you going on there and the media or the news cutting a segment where, yeah, if you listen to it for 10 seconds, it don't sound pretty positive. But if you listen to it for a minute, he was giving an example of something that was negative, but he was going into context, y'all. Context has to be everything,
and a little bit after.
Yes,
so that way you can get a feel.
Because how do we talk to when we're talking? We explain stories. We're bringing up stuff, so you got to go back and pick something or bring something up, and you're going to explain something. If you cut me off in the middle of something that I'm trying to explain, I'm already telling you in a story form. I'm not telling you in I did this ABC. I'm telling you in a story form. Such and such man was a wild character. Da, 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 da. It's not going to sound good if you cut me off in the middle of that and then say, oh, this is what he's about. So it's a new day for people. And I like the fact that we're getting more transparent with these media outlets on social media.
Definitely, real talk. Well, Pengame Classic, man, appreciate you stopping through, coming out, checking in, tapping in with Through My Eyes with One Eyed Willie.
25-8.
25-8 Networks. And, man, welcome to the new home, man. Homie and friends. This week trying to make it happen. So glad you came through, talk with us for a second. If you guys are listening to this, make sure you go check out that Nostalgia album. Make sure you tap in with Category Other and Pengame Classic and everything that he has going on when it comes to music and when it comes to sports. College fanatics. He's a college fanatic and everything. So y'all make sure y'all tap in, man. And like we said, man, this is Through My Eyes with One Eyed Willie, and I appreciate y'all for tapping in. We out.